Hello friends! Today is a very special episode on my channel. We are going through what your sweater pattern isn't telling you. This is something that is going to be great for anybody who's wanting to get into knitting garments, who's been maybe knitting some garments that are, you don't really wear, maybe doesn't fit correctly, or just in general about knitting garments. I wanted to do this video because I do get a lot of questions around garment knitting, having questions about certain things on garment knitting. So this video is really going to answer them all for you. Hopefully, if you have any questions, please put them down below and I will answer them as soon as I possibly can. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Julianne Knitter. I will link everything down below this video so you can find me. I also have a newsletter for all of my designs if you are interested, any earburn list for any tuss knit calls. All of that is down below this video, so if you are interested, please go there. All right, I think we should just dive in today. First and foremost, before you even start knitting your sweater pattern, the most crucial thing is picking out a pattern. And you might be like, yeah, I kind of guessed that. Or you may even have a pattern in mind already. The things, I'm going to be giving you some key things to look for into knitting your next sweater pattern to make sure it's for you. The first thing I'm going to go for is make sure you pick a garment pattern that is something you like. Go in your wardrobe, into your closet, wherever you keep most of your clothes, and look at what you actually wear. When instance I mean that, I mean look at the color schemes that you wear. What are the shapes that you like? Are there certain silhouettes that you prefer that look good on your body type? Because not everyone's the same. So what works great for my body type may not work good for someone else's, and so on and so forth. So you want to make sure that what you're going to knit and spend all of those incredible hours is going to pay off and is something that you really want to wear and love. So when picking out a pattern, go in your wardrobe and figure out from there, okay, do I like short sleeves? Do I like long sleeves? Do I like tunic length? Do I like crop tops? You need to figure that out first because you don't want to knit garments, and I hear this so often. Oh, I knit this so-and-so pattern, but I'm never going to wear it, but I just knit it anyways. Okay, but why? Why are you spending all of that amazing time into a garment that you're not going to wear? So figure out what the type of things. Example. I like loose-fitting clothes. This is one of my designs. This is my comfort within 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. I hate tight-fitted clothes. So for me personally, I'm not going to knit myself a super negative ease, tight-fitting sweater. It's just not something I'm comfortable wearing. So I know that when I look for certain patterns, I go out and look, okay, how much positive ease? I like 2 to 4 inches. What are the type of patterns that have that? What's my certain length that I like? I love short sleeve or full long sleeve, and I do like some 3/4 length. So there's certain things that I really love. Also, when picking out your patterns, really important is looking at your skill set. Now, I don't mean never try something new. But if you've never done color work before, maybe don't try an all-over intarsia pattern of color work. That may not be a good start for you. You want to make sure that what you are looking for in a pattern is also matching some of your skill set. So if you've never done cables, don't go for an all-over seamed cable sweater pattern. Those are sometimes... It sounds basic in some ways, but at the same time, you want to make sure that what you are choosing is what you want. Same thing goes with color schemes. If you know me, I love neutrals. I love anything that's shades of neutrals, types of neutrals. I do love pop of colors in my socks. Socks, really, I can wear any color. Hot pink, doesn't matter. Lime green, love it. But for garments, I'm way more neutral. I would never knit a hot pink sweater. I just don't feel comfortable in it. So the yarn choice really has a big factor into that finished knitted garment because I could choose the perfect pattern. Well, hello, sweetie. My cat. I could choose the perfect pattern, but if it's not in a color that I'm comfortable wearing, I still won't wear it. So figure out in your wardrobe, what are the colors that you like? What is the ones that you're gravitating towards? And also, what you could be looking for in your wardrobe is what is missing. Let's say that you have a ton of pullovers, but you don't have any cardigans. Well, maybe your next pattern should be a cardigan because you want more of those. It could also be what you're missing. Maybe you want that pop of color and you don't find it, or your favorite color is this one and you don't have anything in a cardigan of a dark charcoal gray, for an example, for me. So yeah, so look at what is missing, what you like, what is your style. Another way to do this is when you're looking through your wardrobe, and this is going to be going into fit, not like fit, like the fit of the garment. Pick out your favorite sweater, favorite t-shirt, favorite cardigan, and look at how it's made. Is it positive ease, which means that it's bigger than you? Is it negative ease? Is it tight fitting on you? What type of length is it? All of these you can go based on when you pick your sweater patterns. So going based on that, you find a sweater pattern that you love. And you say, Julie, I don't know what size to choose. They're saying I should have 2 to 4 2 to 4 inches, but I don't know. Do I pick my real bust size? Do I pick bigger? Do I pick smaller? The easiest way to do that is go in your closet, find the sweater pattern that fits you the best. Like, it could be commercial brand, doesn't matter. You lay it out perfectly flat. Take a measuring tape and measure in your bust here, okay? You're gonna measure it from here to here, and then you're gonna double that because your bust is round. Whatever circumference that is the finished size you're gonna go for. So what that means is, let's say, for an example, I am about a between 34 and 35 inch bust, and I like a 37 inch bust. In my sweater patterns, you always have the actual bust size and then finished bust size. You're always gonna go based on the finished bust size because that is the fit of the finished garment. I know that I want close to a 37, so they may have like a 36.5, or they might have a 37.5. I know that that's the target area I like. I won't be going for a 40 inch or 42, or I won't be going to a 35. I know that my area that I like is around that size. I hope that's helpful to you, because I do get a lot of questions in, how do I pick my size? Which one is right for me? It's all dependent on what you like to wear and what the designer is also recommending. When you're test knitting, usually the designer would like for it to fit the way that it's supposed to. So for an example, for my sweater patterns, pretty much it's always 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. That's what I feel comfortable in. I do want my testers to also pick in that category to 2 to 4 inches because it'll look the same of positive ease on everyone. So that's a little bit there. If I'm looking down below, my notes are below. I'm just going to take a sip of water. Okay, next out is the next factor. You've picked out what type of pattern you want to knit. Picking out your yarn type. Again, seems very simple, but if you are beginner knitter, want to knit your first garment and you're like, I don't know where to start. So the yarn has a huge factor in this because let's say that you are someone who absolutely loves to knit with worsted, bulky, Aran weight. You're in the heavier yarns. My gosh, please do not go and buy a lace pattern sweater. It's not going to go well. But the same thing for people who absolutely love lace, even to a fingering weight. You may not like a super chunky, bulky sweater. It may not be your style. So those are really to take an effect of what type of yarn do you like to use. And Ravelry has one of these amazing things that on the side, and if I remember, I'll put Ravelry here, you can pick the type of fingering weight, the type of weight of yarn if you want lace, fingering, whatever. That's my cat Mittens. So you can pick which one you want, and then you can also pick the type of sweater pattern you want. You want sweaters, pullovers, tees, sweater, like anything. You can pick so much, and you can really filter it through. Ravelry has amazing tools. They also have a help section, so you can go and check out there. They have tutorials. amazing. Can't say enough good things about Ravelry. So you can really have fun and look in there, make sure that the yarn weight is what you want, and all of those. All right, next is picking out your color. I think we went over that a little bit. So make sure right now you have picked your sweater pattern, you've picked your color, and you've picked the yarn. The type of yarn I won't be going through too much because I think it really depends on the person. It depends on what type of yarn you like, depending on also where you live. If you live, you know, in Texas area where it's really, really hot, I think, you may not want to go with alpaca Iceland wool. Same thing, if you live in cold climates, you may not want a silk and linen blend. It's just go with things that are wearable in your climate, that are good for where you are. Okay. You've picked out your garment, you've picked out your yarn, you've picked out your color, and you've picked out the fit. The pattern is ready to go, and you're like, okay, Julie, what's next? Your swatch. What is a swatch? You guys, it's so simple. It literally just is a tiny square, usually 4 by 4 inches, of your knitted garment. It's not more complicated than that. I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks on swatching. A swatch is literally just a small piece of fabric that you are doing to see if your gauge is going to match the designer. This is important in garment knitting to make sure that the finished garment fits, okay? You have to do your swatch. There's no way around it. If some people say, well, I never swatch and my sweaters all fit perfectly, I applaud you. Great. I am so happy. But I do recommend that you do a swatch. And all that is the designer in the pattern will recommend a type of stitch pattern to do. So for an example, for this sweater, the swatch is going to be in stockinette, which is just plain knitting. Another tip, people ask me, well, do I need to swatch in the round? Does it need to be flat? Does it like, how do I swatch? I don't understand where to start. If the design is knit flat, your swatch should be knit flat. And if your design is knit in the round, then your swatch should be knit in the round. However, the way that you are going to be knitting this actual garment, that's how you should be doing the swatch. You should be using the exact needle size that you will be using and needles. And you should be using the exact yarn that you will be. Don't go switching out your needles to bamboo needles if you're used to metal. That will change your gauge. Your gauge is how loose or tight your knitting will feel. So you want to make sure that you use the identical needles, the identical yarn, and the exact same way that you will be knitting the pattern. I will try and remember to link below how to swatch in the round and how to swatch flat. Actually, I'm going to write that down because I don't want to forget that for you guys. So link flat and round swatching. Okay, all written down. The next important thing with your swatch, you need to block it and you need to dry it and then pick out your gauge. What happens when you knit a fabric is you're supposed to either wet block it, steam block it, and this will relax your stitches, pads everything out evenly. Some stitches will bloom and get bigger. So if you do your swatch and you just measure, you're like, oh, okay, I'm good, great, and you have a type of yarn that blooms, that gets bigger, well, your finished garment is going to be bigger because you didn't block your swatch and then do that. Is this a pain in the butt? Yeah, it is. It really is. Do I like swatching? No. I don't like swatching. I'll be honest. True confession, I don't like it. Do I do it? Yes. It's important because I want to make sure that the garments that I'm knitting are going to fit me at the end of the day. If you're like, Julie, I really don't want to swatch. I hate it. I despise it. I don't want to do it. I refuse it. Look, I'll give you a small workaround. Start your sweater. Start your sweater. Cast it on with whatever needles you think and the yarn and all of it. Let's say that you get like an inch or two. Stop. Put it either on some waste yarn or some extra needles and block your actual sweater starting piece. Block it out, let it dry for a day. If you can't wait to let it dry, use a hair dryer. I've done that before. I've used the hair dryer. Just make sure you're not burning any of the stitches or it's not too close. Dry it up and test out your gauge. You will know very quickly if you match the gauge, if it's right on point or not. So that's my workaround for that one. Yeah, I don't recommend it all the time, but look, if you really want to cast on, do it. Some people have told me I've knit garments and they've never fit me. That can happen if it all depends on, did you pick something that was the right size for you, of what you like? Did you pick something that maybe was the size of your actual bust rather than bigger than you? Was your gauge on point? We've picked out our pattern. We've picked out our yarn. We've picked out the fit, the look, the colors. We've swatched. We've blocked the swatch. And now we are ready to get started on the pattern. Some tips and tricks when you look at a pattern for the first time. One of the things that I used to do and was like the most helpful thing I ever did. I know it's awful, but I print out my patterns when I used to do them. Now I work off my computer, my phone, because I'm the one typing it out. But when I used to knit and test knit, I printed off a pattern. There are some apps that can help with this, and I know Knit Companion is one of them. I'm going to be doing a review for them very, very soon, and they actually have an amazing app that can really help with what I'm going to mention. All right, print out your pattern, get it on your PDF. I want you to highlight everything of your size. If you are size 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever size you are, I want you to go throughout your entire pattern. So usually in a sweater pattern, like I'll write you out an example, okay? So let's say that it'll say knit 12. Okay, but then I'll have 12, 14, 16, 18. I'm making this up, okay? So let's say that this is how it's going to show up. I want you to go in your pattern. Let's say I'm size 2. I want you to highlight everything in that second column, okay? The reason for this is you will be less confused when you knit up your pattern because everything of your size is already highlighted. I also want you to highlight in a different color when things say at the same time. That is a very, very important one because you don't want to miss that. I also want you to take your crayon, marker, whatever, and X out anything that is not within your size. So let's say that your pattern is written out and it says, for sizes 7, 8, 9 only, do blah, blah, blah. I want you to take your marker, X it right out because you don't need it. All of these things I do the minute when I print it out. I get all of my papers out, highlight everything of my size, make sure, okay, is there any at the same time? Is there any special notes that I should have? Is there any abbreviations that I don't know of? I look at those. Every good pattern should have a list of abbreviations. So if it says K is knit, P is purl, ST is stitches, all of those should be written out in your patterns. The best thing I can tell you, if the designer doesn't have those or they've forgotten it, Google. Say K in knitting abbreviation. It'll come up. There, going back to my page. So those are the key things that I find really that no sweater pattern tells you to do. They don't tell you how, and I am going to be coming up with a how to block your sweater patterns. So I'm going to be coming out with a blocking 101 video. Don't worry, because I know that's the next question that people are going to have is, I don't know how to block my sweaters. I don't know where to start. Don't know what to do. Don't worry. I got you. It's all coming. Yeah, I think that is the biggest things that I can tell you about knitting sweaters. I've knitted a lot of sweaters, and to be honest, I've worn every single one of them. I do find that I make sure that I pick things that I know I like, that is my style, that I wear. I know some things are on trend, but they're not my style. So even though I would absolutely love to knit them, I don't, because me personally, the way that I work is I want to make sure that I actually get a lot of use out of my garments, and I spend all of that time that I will enjoy wearing and is really my style. So if you have any questions, please list them below this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope I answered every random little question that I get, and I'm hoping to be able to reference this video a lot when people are starting either knitting sweaters for the first time. And a lot of these tips and tricks can also, when I'm especially like the pattern one, can really go for any pattern that you're knitting. So if I've missed anything or if you have any more questions, please list them below this video. And I hope that you guys loved this. And I think that is all for now. So you guys, I'll check in with you again later. Happy knitting. Bye.